This is getting ridiculous. I'm here to tell you exactly what that is in this edition of Dodgers Digest. Hey, it's Mike Nelson. Hopefully everybody's having a great Father's Day today. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there around the world who, of course, is following this channel. But yeah, let's get into this story. As we know, the Dodgers got a big win last night against our hated rival, the San Francisco Giants. But the ninth inning was something that was, of course, talked about across Major League Baseball. It's still being talked about, I'm sure, this morning in sports shows across the United States. But the Dodgers, once again, went to Kike Hernandez to close out the game in the ninth inning. They did this a few days ago against the Pajes. And, we got some interesting comments from a, pretty formidable broadcaster in John Smoltz, calling for a rule change? Yeah, let's get into the story. As we know, the Dodgers have been going to Kike Hernandez, to pitch basically because of all the needs that they're having right now, the injuries that they've been having when it comes to all their pitchers. They're basically resorting to anything they can, they don't want to use up any more of the bullpen, and in games that have been either winning by a lot of runs or like losing by a lot of runs, they've been going to Kike Hernandez. And yesterday, with an 11-0 lead, they went to Hernandez. Now, John Smoltz demanded a rule change after the Dodgers used him against San Diego. He had some interesting comments to say on the Flipping Bats podcast, talking to Verlander. He said, talking to Justin Verlander, he said, I think the most embarrassing thing in sports is that I think with the reality of all the smart people thinking pitching, bullpenning, we've had more position players pitching baseball games more than ever. What does that tell you? I think every once in a while you could say it's cute, but the fans kind of get on it. And yeah, it's been obviously, been a little bit funny to see this. But we're having this happening at an alarming rate. I think baseball needs to do something about it. I know they made a rule about when you can use that person. But you know what? I think at some point we were talking about, well, let's just have a mercy rule. What are we doing? Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm going to agree here with John Smoltz. I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous what's going on in baseball. And especially with the Dodgers, I think it's getting a little bit, come on. I mean, yesterday, the Dodgers went to Kike Hernandez in an 11-0 game, and, things didn't go too well for Kike, right? I mean, then I wanted to mention also, Kike Hernandez had the most innings pitched by any position player in Major League Baseball history, 2.1 innings pitched against the Padres. That's a bit much. And then he, of course, pitched again last night against the Giants, and things didn't go too well for him, right? Gave up 4 runs, got a couple outs, gave up 3 hits. It was not the best performance for Kike Hernandez, and of course the Dodgers. It's not the best, right? When you're giving up runs and you're just not a pitcher, right? I mean, Kike Hernandez is not a pitcher. This guy is a position player, and the Dodgers are using him as a pitcher in blowout games. And I think John Smoltz is right. I think Major League Baseball needs to make a rule change. I mean, I think it's getting a bit ridiculous. I mean, position players pitching, I'm not a big fan of it. I think pitchers should pitch. I mean, I think the only guys allowed to play, the only guys allowed to take the mound, unless there's an injury or you run out of pitchers, should be a pitcher, right? I mean, I really think so. I mean, I know some people out there are going to disagree, but I think the idea of using position players on the mound is not the best way to go. I think, we have to have the pitchers stay in kind of their lane here and take the mound. And, I think it just goes back to the same issue that baseball is having with the pitchers not staying healthy. I mean, there's just too many injuries in baseball when it comes to pitchers. It's just too much. It's too many injuries. And this is a problem that baseball has not done enough to solve. And it goes back to the way, players are developed. Now, I mean, think about it. Now, to make it into Major League Baseball, you have to pitch basically 10, 11 months out of the year, starting at the age of 11 or 12, right? I mean, once you're hitting 11 or 12 years old, you got to go all in on baseball. You got to stop playing other sports. And if you're a pitcher, you got to pitch 10, 11 months out of the year. You're only taking a month off, basically, because, travel baseball is basically a year-round thing, especially if you want to make Major League Baseball, right? I mean, if you're just playing baseball casually for fun, that's another story. But I'm talking about the kids out there that want to be Major League Baseball pitchers, right? In order to be a Major League Baseball pitcher right now, you got to play all year or you're not getting drafted. It's that simple. Playing high school baseball is not going to be enough. Or just playing, it's just not going to be enough. I mean, you got to play all year in order for people to see you in all the, tournaments that they have in your area. And of course, you got to have money also to pay for that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a big issue that baseball, I think, needs to address. Guys should not be pitching all year long at such a young age and throwing off-speed pitches. Before guys used to kind of just throw fastballs. So I think it didn't, ruin your arm as it is now. I mean, that's why you have so many guys having Tommy John surgery, and they've only been playing Major League Baseball for like 1 or 2 years, right? Because they've been throwing these pitches their whole, adolescence, right? And it obviously takes a toll on your elbow when you reach, adulthood, right? So I think that's something that I think baseball has to address. And I think a rule change for this, it's because of all the injuries. That's why guys are, why position players are being used in these blowout games. The teams just don't want to tax their bullpen anymore because they already, a lot of the Dodgers aren't the only team that's going through this. I mean, the Dodgers, of course, are going through it the worst. They have it the worst. There's no doubt about that. And that's why they're using so much bullpen. But yesterday, as we know, the offense came through. The Giants had no answer for the Dodgers offense. And they also had no answer for Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw delivered his best game of the 2025 season, a player that I have criticized in the past, but yesterday he shut me up. He went 7 innings, didn't give up a run. It was awesome, right? I mean, Clayton Kershaw had an amazing performance yesterday, only gave up 3 hits, had 5 strikeouts. It was a solid performance for Clayton Kershaw, who improved to 2-0. And, he had a lot of run support yesterday, right? It was a lot of run support early on for Kershaw. And that gave him confidence, right? I mean, that just gives you confidence as a pitcher when you know your team is putting up a lot of runs early on. That's what the Dodgers did yesterday. They put the Giants in a tough position in the first 2 innings. They jumped on them early, and they beat them fair and square. I mean, they were clearly the better team. The Dodgers are in sole possession of first place ahead of the massive game that's going to be starting in about 3 hours, Sunday Night Baseball. Dodgers and Giants from Dodger Stadium. It's going to be a hot one. It's warm out in L.A., so make sure to stay hydrated if you're going to the stadium. It's going to be hot. Dustin May on the mound for the Dodgers. You hope he gives us a good performance. It's been a bit of a struggle for Dustin May as of late, but the Dodgers need to have run support. They got to put runs on the board early like they did yesterday to put the Giants away. The Giants are not going to score a lot of runs against our pitchers. Maybe they might score a lot of runs against Teoscar Hernández, but they're not going to do that against our pitchers. They're just not. They don't have the lineup. So I like our chances tonight. Dodgers hopefully take a 2-game lead in the division. They had a 2-game lead on. They had a 3-game lead on San Diego before today. I haven't checked the score of the game that they're having. I believe the game's just getting started against the D-backs, right? They're playing at 1 o'clock. So yeah, just getting started out there. Padres and D-backs. Hopefully the Padres lose and the Dodgers can jump on them and have a 4-game lead at the end of the day. So a lot to talk about. We got the Monday morning show tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, so make sure to tune in. As always, make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers. Woo!